Hey friends, over 60% of you are listening to me right now on an Apple product. iPhone, iPad, iTunes. I need your help. The truth is, Apple will make this podcast more discoverable to new listeners the more reviews it has. So I'm here asking you to take a moment and leave a review. If you've gained any value from this podcast, the greatest thing you can do for it, besides spreading the word and telling friends, is leaving a review. It's real simple. If you're on your phone, head over to my podcast page within the Apple Podcast app and leave a review. Or if you're on a computer, you can head over to my podcast page within the iTunes app. That's it. That's all I ask. And if you have other podcasts that you love, do them a favor and do the same for them. It'll make their day. Now let's get this podcast started already. Well, how are we tonight?
I'm okay. It's been a kind of a crazy day, but it's better than it was. So
there's a song called Better Than It Was. Are you familiar with a band called Fastball?
No, I've never heard of them before.
Never heard of Fastball. They had the song in the late 90s. Now I'm really going to freak people out here because I don't know. Sometimes I get into music once in a blue moon. They had a song called The Way. Is like, anyone can see the road that they walk on.
Yeah.
Okay, that's Fastball.
Yeah.
So they also,
okay.
and this is the funny thing is sometimes I hear like a phrase or a word and I immediately think of a song. And so I remember that Fastball had a song called It's Better Than It Was, down, 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 better than it was. And then so I'm like, hey, you said it better than it was. And I immediately triggered. Now people, I think we've lost people already, I feel like.
I'm kind of old though. So yeah, I know exactly who they are. I just didn't know what their name was. Okay,
fair enough. And if you don't mind me asking, how old?
I'm 34.
You ain't that old, please. Psh.
Yep.
I'm 36. Get out of here.
My husband is 42.
Okay,
so
all right.
He will
he might be old.
Older than me.
He might be old. I don't know. So there's.
He actually looks. People think he is younger than me, though. So he actually looks young,
right.
But he is kind of old.
Well, he's got that going for him.
Yeah, he does.
So that's like what, like an 8-year difference, right?
Yep.
That's the same as me and my wife.
That's awesome.
Yeah, well, I guess it's not as awesome when you're younger, and luckily we met, after everybody's legal and all that stuff. But
right,
it's kind of I don't know. To me, it as you get older, I guess it doesn't really matter. But when it's a younger thing, obviously it's a whole different story.
Mm-hmm.
How do you meet up with your husband? How does that happen?
We actually met on a dating site.
Ah, yes. The old trusty dating site.
Yes.
Plenty of fish?
Plenty of fish, actually, yes.
I used to spend many days and night on Plenty of Fish back in the day.
Well, he called it Puff.
Puff. There you go.
I was 27 and I turned 28 the month after I met him, so...
And how does that work out? Does he just bring the Mac attack on you? He's like, yo, baby, what's going on? Like, how does that work?
You know what? He is a fantastic man. He is unlike any other man that I met on a dating site.
He must be sitting in the room with you right now.
I was literally getting ready to get off. I was done. I had been on dating sites forever, and I thought I was going to be alone the rest of my life. And then he messaged me out of the blue, and he wasn't, nasty.
Sure, yeah.
Like any other guys. And I'm just like, oh my God, he's different.
That's POF all day long.
Yeah. He's fantastic. He's loved me through a lot.
Is he sitting in the room as you're saying all these nice things? Okay.
No,
I thought that's why you were saying all this stuff.
No, he's at work right now.
Oh boy. Yeah, no, I want to say, I don't know if it was Plenty of Fish. Maybe I was just randomly messaging I met both of my wives on MySpace.
Okay. Oh, on MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace.
I miss MySpace.
Yeah, MySpace was the jam for a time there. But
I loved how you could customize your profile. I was into some HTML, pictures, music. I missed that part.
Look at you go, HTML. So you were probably one of them girls, like when I went on your page, it probably had the music blaring my speakers out, right?
It did.
Were you one of those people?
It did. God, I miss those days.
I mean,
I like Facebook. It's okay. Yeah. Funny thing, I have an Instagram. I have two Instagrams. The one I made years ago, and I only used it to edit pictures.
Right.
And, because phones didn't do all that stuff back in the day. So I never was into Instagram until I started my fitness page. And now I'm like barely on Facebook and I'm always on Instagram.
I am trying to figure out ways to get off of Facebook other than like I have like a business page that's like connected with my Instagram. It's like the only way as a creator that you can run ads and all that stuff, that whole like businessy type stuff that we all try to avoid on Instagram. So I have like a business page. I have a personal page, and my poor like friends that I've known in quote unquote real life, like they all want to connect with me there, and I'm just like trying to get the hell off of there. Like actually I'm in the process of like converting my personal page to a business page and then merging it with my existing business page. And then so everything falls under the business banner. Cause I gotta be honest with you. It's just like, I go through Facebook and there is a lot of noise on there, like a lot of political noise and a lot of, here's my dog and my kids. And I mean, all this stuff is fine, but it's just like, there's just so much noise on here.
I know. I agree. I'm hardly ever on Facebook anymore. And now I'm on Instagram all the time. I love Instagram.
I hang out on Instagram full time. That's where I hang out full time on Instagram.
It's literally changed. I feel like it's changed my weight loss journey, because I've done the whole weight loss thing pretty much most of my adult life. And I've failed, every time until this time. And there's probably two major things that I would say is actually making me not fail this time. And Instagram is one of them.
What is it about Instagram? What's the appeal? What draws you in, and what makes you feel that you're more successful with it?
The community.
Yes.
It's insane. There's a girl that I watch on YouTube, and she was talking about how she was going to start a weight loss Instagram. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll do that too, Yeah. So February 1st, I was trying to figure out a really cool name.
Right.
And and then I came up with Reduced Fat Mama.
It's very clever.
I know. And it took me a while. I'm like, what's going to sound cute? What's going to be catchy? It's me. And I obviously wanted to reduce being fat.
Yeah.
And I am a mama. I mean, that's my number one job, the most important thing I'm doing. And that's what I made. I made my page, and literally the friendships that I have made, seeing people, actually Lexi, Fat Girl Fed Up.
Yes.
She was one of the first ones that I started to follow. And oh my God, like I can tell you, I mean, there's days I can remember in February. I feel like February was really hard. I started my journey January 2nd.
Yeah.
And February was really hard. I don't know why. It just, there were days where I'm just like, I want to give up. And, I was still going through cravings of foods, and, I would just watch her stories and just read the stuff that she wrote. Her and Maynard.
Right. Yeah.
They are both like, there have been days where I have not wanted to work out, and I listen to his stories, and he's like, you got to do it. And I'm like, if he can do it, I can do it.
Absolutely.
And those two, I mean, but there's so many more though. There's so many people I've made friendships with, and they just keep me going. I mean, it started off more as like an accountability, and it's still an accountability.
Yeah.
I started out working out at home, and then now I go to the gym, but towards the end of right before I started working out at the gym, I was getting really tired with like my workouts at home and everything. And I would get on Instagram stories and I'd be like, okay, guys. And people were probably like, okay, you tell us this every day, but seriously, I'm going to work out. And then I'm like, okay, I just told all these people I'm going to work out. I have to do it now.
That's right.
So it's really kept me accountable.
Yeah. And just for people that may be stumbling onto the show, they're maybe brand new, because I feel like we're getting new listeners every day here, but Lexi and Maine are both guests on this podcast. You can go to Gary'sPodcast.com, Spotify, iHeartRadio, well, basically however you're listening to my voice right now. Obviously, you can go back and find these episodes, some really great episodes. And I got to tell you, I haven't met Maynard, but it's on my list. I'm going to go to Chicago and meet this guy at some point. But I can tell you that
Incredible.
I spent 3 days with Lexi and Danny when they were here in town.
That's how I found you.
That's how you found me. Okay.
From her page. Yeah.
Well, I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you're with me now. I got to tell you, it's I spent 3 days with these people, not 3 days consecutively, but 3 days. And I haven't really had a chance to talk about this yet, because I haven't done a podcast with just me since then. But these people, Lexi and Danny, are truly just incredible people. And when you meet them, the one thing you'll find is how real and authentic they really are. It's like, it's easy to scroll through the feeds and you talk to these people and sometimes people are putting on like a facade and they're not really kind of maybe who they truly are. But I can tell you that beyond the shadow of a doubt that I sat down with these people for a combined probably 10 to 12 hours over the course of 3 days and got to know them even more. And I mean, I love these guys. They're
awesome.
Real, genuine people. The people that you see on these stories that are talking, these two people are as real as it gets. And Danny's mom, Vonnie, is incredible as well. I got to tell you, she was just
really
phenomenal. Sweet. And she's on Instagram now. So
yeah,
go seek her out. But I just wanted to include that because I know that, you're talking about Instagram and people inspiring. And one of the things, I've gotten the chance to meet people, and I hope to meet you one day, and I hope to meet everybody. Meeting these people, it's really refreshing. I probably only had like maybe one experience that I was kind of questioning at one point, but everything else has been just right down the middle, real and authentic. I mean, it's incredible the power of the Instagram community.
It is.
We all have very similar common goals. We just have different ways of getting there. And it's like, wow, when we all come together and we all support each other, we're really capable of doing some amazing things as a community. It's
Yes.
inspiring.
It is. It's amazing. There were days where I'm like, in my starting, it took me a long time to post what my weight was on Instagram, just because I have coworkers and friends that were following me, and, I was embarrassed. I started out on January 1st at 291.6. And then there's so many people, incredible people on Instagram that I follow that weighed, so much, had so much more weight to lose. And that's kind of how I felt with Lexi. Like on days, I'm just like, I can't do it. And then I'm like, look at her. She was in the gym at 485 pounds. If she can do it, I can do it. Maynard, 700, that is incredible.
Yeah.
To be able to lose that weight with diet and exercise, like just incredible. And honestly, I mean, just stories like that, they just keep me going.
Yeah.
They really do.
It's really just, it's so inspiring when you read this. I mean, I get off on this stuff. Like it just feeds so much positive energy to where I'll see somebody like you mentioned, like a Maynard or somebody is like, no freaking slacking. And
Yes.
you just get going and you're ready to go.
Yes.
And it just gets you kind of, like fired up and ready to take on the day. And I try to approach that too. I have, I'm so thankful to have the people that join me. I don't like using followers or fans or any of that stuff.
Right.
Friends is the word I like to use. I'm so fortunate to have so many friends that follow. And so for me, it's like,
I have to approach every day. It's like, okay, what message can I put out there as I continue to share this journey, just like anybody else? It's like, what can I put out there? What kind of genuine piece of good information or a positive message can I put out there? And so then that's what I'm like, okay, I need to put this out or put that out. It's like today, I just posted like 2 hours ago about Instagram is noisy, do your own thing, that kind of stuff. It's like, these are all positive messages that have, a good meaning behind them, or the podcast that I put out this morning about Thanksgiving and people are hearing this in the middle of December
awesome.
now. Well, thank you.
I listened to it this morning.
I appreciate that. And this kind of peels back the curtain because people are going to be listening to this in like the first or second week of December, I think, or whatever it is. So it's just like, okay. Yeah, putting out stuff like that and just trying to just put out a good message to try to inspire people. I don't take it for granted for one moment that I have these people that are joining me just like I'm joining them. And I want to make sure that I do everything I can to share some good vibes.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And I'm, sometimes I'm like, people probably think my stories are insane because I will cry. You know what I mean? Like, I'm such an emotional person. And like, this journey has really brought me, it's really made me even more emotional than I already am. So many times when I'm at the gym, like I'll cry at the gym just because it's such a stress release. And, I've just got so much trauma from the last couple years and just so much. And like working out, it literally is therapy. It really is my therapy that I get 6 days a week. And
well, there's a lot to unpack there. I know that before we got started, you said that you told me, hey, I'm an open book and I want to put my story out there. So, yes. I mean, you're kind of leading like there's a bigger story to tell here. So I'm very curious to hear. And now, does it start with the weight loss or is there something before the weight loss? Where should we start with this?
I mean, so basically I've been overweight or obese my entire life. In high school, I was a size 12. I felt pretty comfortable in my body. Kids can be kids and, people still thought I was fat. I look at pictures and I'm like, oh my God, you weren't fat. I don't know how much I weighed. I know I was a size 12 jeans. I never weighed myself. I want to say that I was probably 170s. And if I was 170s, then I was obese in high school, stupid BMI chart or whatever, because I'm 5'3".
Right.
But, I put on a majority of my weight when I was 19. No, I was 20. I used to smoke. I smoked cigarettes for 2 years and then I quit and I put on 60 pounds. And I want to say before that, I was probably like 190s, 200.
Right.
I tried to lose weight I want to say probably 3 times before I met my husband. And then I lost 30 pounds. I think before I got married, and then I gained it all back plus some. And then, 3 years ago, I lost 40 pounds and I was starting a weight loss journey. I got weighed at work for insurance purposes. And, I just was fed up with being that weight. Well, I lost 40 pounds and then bam, I got pregnant. So I only put on 20 pounds with my pregnancy. It was a good pregnancy. And then I had my son. And when my son was 12 hours old, he started making some weird rhythmic jerking movements. And a doctor, when he was around 20 hours old, said that he thought he was having seizures. So him and my husband took a trip an hour south to a children's hospital.
Right.
Well, 2.5 days after they couldn't get his seizures stopped. They had him on 3 medications. They were maxing out. They finally got them stopped. And he had an MRI and they found out that he had a stroke.
Oh, wow.
So Yeah, my brand new baby had a stroke. So I had actually after I had him, I lost the 20 pounds I gained plus another 13. And I got down to like I think I was like 237. Mm-hmm. Well, the first year and a half of my son's life was, awful. He came home on oxygen, and he was on several seizure medications. And at 6 months old, he got diagnosed with something called infantile spasms, which is a horrible, horrible, horrible seizure disorder for kids. And it was basically just an awful time. I was eating myself to death. I was eating my feelings. I had my gallbladder out when my son was 4 months old. And then after I had that done, my stomach was tore up all the time when I was eating crap. And January 1st of this year, I stepped on the scale. And the highest I'd ever weighed was 285 before I got pregnant with him and lost the 40 pounds. And I was 291.6. And I was miserable. Just miserable. I literally was comforting myself with food, and it wasn't helping me. It was leaving me full, but it was leaving me empty at the same time, if that makes sense.
Sure. It's probably destroying you on the inside.
Oh, awful. And, I stepped on that scale, because it's always gradual. I put on 53 pounds in the first year and a half of his life, but it's always gradual. It's like, oh, I'm 250. That's okay. I won't get up to the 260s, and then I'm 260s, and then I'm 270s, and then I'm 280s. And then I'm like, oh my God, I'm almost 300 pounds. And, what am I doing? And January 2nd, I started my weight loss journey. I completely changed the way I ate. I didn't start working out until mid-February. I bought an elliptical and I started working out at home. But before that, I was going to a mall and I was walking inside the mall like before work, or I was going outside. In Ohio, it's freezing, but I was going outside on the days where it was kind of warm and I was walking.
Yeah.
So, that's pretty much the two things, honestly, that has, so much, it's been really hard, everything that my sons went through. He had the stroke. It actually took out 65 to 75% of the right side of his brain is completely dead. But he's amazing. Like if you saw him, he's running, he's not talking yet, but I think he's just focusing on other things. But he literally saved my life. I feel like if I hadn't got pregnant with him, when I lost that 40 pounds, I would almost put money that I would have gained it all back and then some. I just, I never had that will. And then now with him, he's doing so great, but it's like, I've got to be there for him. I'm his mother, and I literally am fighting like hell for him. Today, I had this, not like an epiphany, I don't know, but on the elliptical at home, it's been really hard for me to get a good workout. And today it just was such an amazing workout. And I was just, it's just like all this stress and trauma and everything is just leaving. And I'm like, I am doing this for everyone that cannot move. My son has cerebral palsy. It's very minor. But, there's kids that have it that are wheelchair bound and, would love to walk. And it's like, I have the ability to walk, I have to do this. I have the ability to move and to work out. I have to do this for people that cannot do it.
Yeah. You just got to keep going. That's the important part for you, for your family. They need you there just like you need them.
Yes.
And it's, it's definitely a touching, touching story there. And it definitely sure gives you all the motivation you would need to push harder and harder,
Honestly, it does. He started when he was 4 weeks old. He spent 3 weeks in the NICU. When he was 4 weeks old, he started weekly PT sessions. So he's been going, he'll be 2.5 next month. and he does OT once a week as well. And now he does speech. If this kid can, you know, he has to fight every day to like use his left hand because of the stroke. You know, if he can do all of this, if he can fight like he can, then his mom can fight for him. And that's just, I mean, honestly, that's, sometimes I feel a little discouraged because people, you know, will say, oh, I wish I could, you know, do what you're doing, or you're just, it's like they think it comes like really easy to me. And it's because of my son. Like, honestly, like if you had a child that had, you know, multiple like issues, you know, and I don't know, like he literally inspires me. I cannot even explain it, but it's him. It is him. And he literally gives me the, you know, the oomph that I need to do like every day. He literally has saved my life, because I honestly I know I would not have lost the weight. You know, I always yo-yoed, you know, you'd lose, you know, I do it for 3 months and then I'm like, okay, you know, back on, you know, back to eating like, and I mean, God, I was probably eating like 3,000 calories a day some days, maybe even more, 4,000 calories a day. And
I hear you
just
there.
literally trying to fill up this, you know, this like pain and sadness, you know, because he was on so many meds, and the first year of his life, he was in the hospital for 7 times. And every time he was in the hospital, if my husband had to work, like, and he would come, I'd have him bring me, you know, there were certain comfort foods that, you know, comforted me, and it didn't comfort, you know, like it kind of comforted me, but then it didn't.
What was your go-to comfort?
Oh, well, I put it into MyFitnessPal recently. I actually put in like what I would eat on a daily, and it was like 3,000 calories. So my comfort food, and this is something that I probably will never be able to eat again, because it kind of even makes me sick to even think about it. I would get a 20 ounce of Coke.
Yeah.
2 Cosmic Brownies from the gas station, but not just your normal size Cosmic Brownies, your large, the large Cosmic Brownies that are like 75 grams of carbs in each. And then a bag of cheese puffs, like not a huge bag, but like a single one. I would drive to the gas station at 2 a.m. like to get, you know, it's just.
So it was mainly sweets for you. It wasn't really like fast food stuff, or.
Oh, fast food. Oh God, yes. I was eating like twice a day, a lot of the times. So I would go through McDonald's, you know, oh, I didn't eat breakfast, so I'm going to go through McDonald's, you know, as a snack.
Sure. Oh yeah.
Like a snack, you know, before lunch or something.
It's like a $10 meal, big snack.
Right? Yeah. My snacks were, oh my gosh. I would get a McDouble. And then a regular cheeseburger, because, you know, as long as it wasn't another McDouble, it was better.
Isn't that funny? Hold on. I'm sorry. That, you know, that math that we do in our head, it's like, well,
I know.
If I get this, but I really want 2 of these, but if I get one of these and then I get one of these, it's like, well, somehow I can justify that. And I don't know where the hell this stuff comes up in our brains, but we just figure it out. I don't know. It's like, I was like, well, you know, when I have my 2 McDoubles, my 4-piece and my shake, I'm like, well, it's a medium. At least it's not a large. And then the 4-piece, at least it's not a 10-piece. And I'll get the 2 McDoubles, but I'll get the McNuggets, so I don't have to get 3 McDoubles. And it's just all this stuff that goes on in your brain. It's like, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, I was the same. So I'd get those 2 sandwiches, a small fry, and a large Coke. And that would be like a snack. And then I could eat like, who knows, like an hour or 2 later.
Oh my God.
Sandwich, like at home, if I ate, like mainly what I ate at home, I would make like pasta. Ramen noodles. I would eat a whole thing of ramen noodles. And then I would eat like 2 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. I could go through like 2 to 3 sandwiches a day of bread. I mean, my thing was bread. Yes, I love the sweets. I would buy half gallons of ice cream, and literally in like I would get 2, maybe 3 things of, I mean, I would eat a half gallon in like 2 or 3 sittings.
Oh my God.
So, I mean, and then I laughed when I was listening to your podcast when you were talking about the cake, because I was the same way. You know, at work, if they had cake, you know, you'd like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom in the break room. And then you're just like scarfing.
Oh my God. Yeah. So for the people that
you're
are
just scarfing down cake.
The people that may be new here to the podcast, I shared a story on, I think it was the food addiction episode. So work would always cater in food for the longest time. They still do it, but it's like once a month now for like a whole week when we're really busy. But back in the day, as they say, they would cater in every single day. And so every single day there would be like dessert back there, or if somebody's birthday, they'd have this big ass birthday cake. Yeah. And so you go up and you get your piece, right? You know, everybody gets a piece, everybody gets their piece. Okay. So then what you do is you walk back to like wherever your desk is, or in my case, my office. And I go back there and I'd eat the cake and I'm like, man, that's really good. I need to, especially if it was that sexy, like chocolate cake or like yellow cake with that vanilla frosting. I mean, you know how they talk about like girls like basic bitches, they like their Starbucks and all that, right? Like I was a basic bitch when it came to like cake. Like give me yellow cake with chocolate frosting, or like chocolate cake with vanilla frosting. I was a basic bitch for cake. So so what I would do is I'd have the slice and I'd go, okay, I'm like, all right, do I gotta pee? I think I have to pee. All right, so let me go to the bathroom. I'm gonna go to the bathroom. I'm gonna look around the corner. I'm gonna see if there's anybody in the kitchen. If there's nobody in the kitchen, I'm gonna make a beeline for the kitchen. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna grab another piece of cake when nobody's looking, and I'm gonna actually wrap some napkins around it, so it just looks like I'm just carrying a bunch of napkins, really. And then of course, because I had to take it to the fat boy level, as I like to say, I would find like the corner where like there's this big hunk of frosting, because like half the women in the office were like, you know, really super thin, vegan, and all this stuff, and like all this frosting. And so like a lot of times they'd leave like hunks of frosting in the corner, and so. Oh, Gary, what does he do? He takes the fork or the knife and he scoops up this big chunk of frosting and just dabs it on the plate there. And then I take that plate and I run and I go back to the office to have that piece of cake. And then if it was really serious, if it was really like some basic cake here, your boy here would be back for yet a third round, maybe like an hour later, or just wait or get one right before I go home. And it's like, oh my God, what is wrong with me?
Yeah, no, I was the same. I mean,
it's crazy.
2-3 pieces, stuff like that. There's just certain things that I just don't. I mean, I'll allow myself to have like cake sometimes. A friend of mine, her son's birthday, I mean, the cake was from the best cake that you've ever eaten in your entire life. And I did have 2 pieces and I had no shame.
Sure.
But there are just some things like pasta, like I will not buy it and bring it in the house, because it was one of those, you know what I mean? Like it was a comfort.
Yeah.
And it just, it leaves me feeling, I feel terrible when I eat that way now. I don't really have very many quote unquote cheat meals, just because it literally makes me feel so sick. And half the time, like my main issue is when I go to things like potlucks,
right?
Or like, you know, at a house like buffet style, because I always overeat. I always do. And then I feel so sick to my stomach, and it's just not worth feeling that way.
I know. And it feels good going down too. And it's like,
it does,
you know, like when you're 2 plates in, you don't even feel bad yet. It doesn't set in for like quite a while. And then you're like, oh shit, what's going on here? Mm-hmm. Something's happening.
Well, even things like pizza, like me and my husband, I mean, I don't think that I would have been able to eat a whole large pizza to myself, but me and my husband would share like a large or an extra large, and we'd eat the whole thing.
Oh yeah.
A couple months ago for, we were going to watch football. I got thin crust pizza from Pizza Hut, and I had 3 pieces. I ate it, the carbs and everything were within what I allow myself to eat every day. But I literally felt so sick and lethargic after I ate it. I'm like, oh my God. I felt awful. You know, it'd be one thing like with sweets, I don't really feel awful. Like that day that I ate 2 pieces of cake, I did not feel bad.
Yeah.
At all. It's like things like that don't make me feel terrible, but like, you know, if it was a lot of pasta or like that pizza, and it was even thin crust, so it was, you know, way less carbs than their typical regular pizza, but I just felt terrible. And I'm like, and you know, especially most of my life, but you know, the first year and a half of my son's life when I was eating like that, I literally felt like that all the time. Like I felt like a slug. I didn't want to move. I just wanted to lay around, you know, and that was another thing for in January. Like he was getting close to walking. He started walking mid-January. Mm-hmm. So a couple weeks after I started my journey. And like today I took him to this play place. And if I just can't imagine what I would have been like had I not started when I did, because, you know, I'm like climbing like jungle gym things with him and everything. And 100 pounds more than that, there's no way I would have been able to do that. And it wouldn't have been fair. I don't want to hold him back. You know, I don't want him to be like, Mommy, let's go to the park. And me be like, oh, I can't because I literally, you know, walk a little bit and I'm short of breath, you know?
Yeah. I'm looking at your page right now at Reduced Fat Mama on Instagram, and I mean you've lost a lot of freaking weight.
As of today, I have lost 97.7 pounds.
And I mean this respectfully. You look incredible. Can I just say that? You look incredible.
Yes, thank you.
You've done a hell of a job. I think everybody needs to go and check out the page. They want the inspiration. I mean, this is incredible. It's amazing what we can do. I talk about this in posts all the time, but it's amazing what we can do when we just believe in us and we just put our best foot forward. We put in the best possible effort. And of course, the 4 pillars: patience, consistency, hard work, love yourself. When we put forth these 4 things, it is no understatement. We can move mountains when we do these things because, and I say that because before we do all this, we don't think we have no belief in ourselves. We look at ourselves like, this piece of trash, you know, what am I going to do? I'm going to sit around on my ass and eat some more pizza. But there's really so much more that we can do. And we're able to do it. I mean, looking at your page, looking at what you've done here, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's crazy. I can remember when I hit the 40-pound loss mark, and I'm like, I've never lost more than 40 pounds before, ever. Like I've always, you know, I don't know what it was. I'd get to 40 pounds and then it's like backfire, you know?
Yeah.
And now it's just, you know, I have my son and, you know, my husband and my stepdaughter.
Now where's your husband at with this? Is he a bigger guy? Was a bigger guy?
No.
Is a bigger guy? What's the story on him?
No. So he is 6'4".
So he probably carries it really well.
225.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's very muscular.
That's a stud of a man right there.
When I met him, he was going to the gym probably like 6 days a week. He'd go during his lunch breaks. He doesn't do cardio, but he likes to lift. I mean, he's not like huge, but he's strong and muscular. He is proud of me. He loved me when I was almost 300 pounds. And now, today I'm 193.9 pounds. I cannot even tell you the last time I've weighed this much. I was probably 17 or 18. You know, like I say, I can't even remember. I don't, you know, like I didn't step on a scale until I was probably like 260s. It's been a long, long time.
I mean, you're in a spot where I think a lot of people want to be, and that's the quote unquote wonderland. Everybody talks about wonderland.
Yes. And I'm going to tell you, it was really, so I hit, Wonderland, what? I think it's been like a couple weeks. No, it's been longer than that, like maybe a month or so. It was not until something in my brain did not click until I saw 199 pounds. I literally was even 200, 201. And I literally still saw that girl who was almost 300 pounds. Like my brain just,
Right.
and it was awful. People at work, people I don't even know at work would come up to me and be like, man, you've lost a lot of weight. You look great. And I'd always be like, thanks, but yeah, I don't see it, and the last of your 4 pillars is love yourself. That is one thing that I have been really working on the last couple months, because honestly, I don't remember the last time I loved myself. I may have, like when I was younger, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's been really, really hard. I've been really hateful and angry to people sometimes, just because I was so angry, at myself.
Yeah.
And you can't, treat other people, the best, when you feel so crappy about yourself. So I've been like listening to like some self-help books and, really trying to learn to love myself. But when I hit like Wonderland and I was finally under 200 pounds, like something just clicked in my head and I'm like, holy crap, look at, and it's like, I look in the mirror now and I'm like, I just can't, I can't believe it. I mean, people now like call me thin and I'm like, just because they're used to seeing me, you know what I mean? Like, I don't see myself as that, somebody that I work with, he's like, oh, don't lose any more weight. You're wasting away. I think it's just because it's been so dramatic. It's been through since January, that I've lost 97 pounds. And I think, they were just so used to seeing me, morbidly obese for so long.
Yeah.
My goal is to get down to 166, and only because, and I know the BMI chart is ridiculous and whatever, but I would just love to be overweight and not obese anymore.
Sure. No, I hear you.
But I know when I get there, people are probably going to be like, you are too thin, just because they're so, even then, I'll be borderline like obese still, they're just so used to seeing me one way. And then now seeing me, it's just, I think it's weird.
Yeah. I'm looking at one of these transformation photos that you've got here. This is probably posted about a week ago. It's a bathroom. It's like 83 pounds.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
in my pajamas.
In your pajamas. It's amazing to me. Like one of the things I notice, and it looks like it, I mean, obviously you lose a bunch of weight all over, but I really see it in your face.
Yeah.
And was that like one of the first places where you lost it? Because I feel like for me, and I feel like they say for a lot of people, but some people say, I don't know about that. But I feel like that was like one of the first places it went for me was the face.
Maybe. I mean, it's really hard to tell. Like, I carry most of my weight in my stomach. There's girls that are like, oh, I wish, like my legs are they're actually pretty thin now. But I mean, they were never like really big, but I never had, like the big hips and a butt. And I kind of wish that I was built that way.
Right.
But, I carry all of my weight in my stomach. So yeah, I mean, that picture makes me so sad. Like looking at it, you could just see like how uncomfortable I was. I have an Apple Watch, and it's crazy to like look back at, last year, like my walking heart rate was like 120s.
Oh yeah. I have the watch as well. And looking at
and
that stuff blows
like
me
90s.
away.
Yeah. And now it's 90s. And I'm like, my resting heart rate has come down a lot. And, it's just, that picture was probably one of the first like transformation pictures that I've posted that I'm like, holy crap. Like, wow. I really do see it. And it just makes me so sad because for so many months, like on my page, I would make posts like, I don't see it. I don't see it. And then maybe about 3 months ago, maybe 4, but I started telling myself, okay, look, every time somebody compliments you, you say thank you, but then you're like, oh, but I don't see it, and that's kind of like negating what, their compliments. Just say thank you. And I've learned to just be like, thank you, instead of, oh, thanks. But,
Yeah.
So I'm really trying to, because seriously, I mean, I've literally hated myself for so long, and now I think that the best thing that has really helped me learn to love myself and not hate myself is how in awe I am of what I can do. I can go to the gym for 2 hours. Like, that's my thing. And people are like, oh my God, you go to the gym for 2 hours. But until I started going to the gym, so my son was a little over 2. Aside from work, I have never left him.
Right.
Maybe an hour to go to a store. Like, I'm just, paranoid. And the first couple times going to the gym, I'm like, oh, I felt so guilty. I'm like, oh my gosh, my son, I'm not with him. But it's a nice me time. I get to go, I get to release all this, pain and hurt and trauma and stress and everything. And how many people, like, to some people, they're like, oh my God, 2 hours at the gym. And I'm like, no, it's like, it's great. It's wonderful. I get my cardio in and then I strength train and, I'm listening to music and I'm not worrying about anything. And it's just amazing that my body can do that. Cause I was looking at some of my first Instagram posts, and when I first bought my elliptical in February, I struggled to do 5 minutes. Like, I struggled to do a half a mile. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I was 2 minutes in and I'm like done. Before I had my son, I was doing like 5 or 6 miles on the elliptical. And, I was struggling in February. I was even 25, 30 pounds over the weight limit of my elliptical when I started.
Wow.
And yeah. And now it's like, I can get on the arc trainer, which I was doing. Now I'm doing the bike because I'm switching it up, but I can do an hour on the arc trainer. And it's like, because the elliptical just doesn't give me as good of, I can't get my heart rate up where I want it to be, because I'm just so used to it. So looking at the things like, oh my gosh, you can go to the gym and you can work out and your body can do this. Why aren't you loving it?
Yeah. It's been
why
there.
Are you not loving it?
It's been there with you in the good times and the bad. And when you beat the hell out of it with bad food and made bad choices, it still was strong enough to hold you up. And so, when people ask me, what the hell are you talking about when you say love yourself? That's what I'm talking about. Like, your body stood with you in the good times and the bad, and it's still standing to this day, no matter how much crap you put it through. And so you got to love it. You got to go to war with it. You got to fight, ride or die, and make something happen because it stood with you. You owe it that.
Mm-hmm. It's funny though, because people will be like, well, you had a baby. And I'm like, I wish I could blame this. I wish I could blame this body on my son.
Yeah.
But I had topped out 285, and I want to say I was like 260s when I had him. My skin had already been stretched. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
My body honestly looks the same exact way now as it did before I had him. So I wish I could say I gained all this weight because of him, but I didn't. Yeah. But yeah, I just seeing what my body can do, it's really helping me learn to love myself. Cause, I would say I probably have been an emotional eater probably most of my life. And that's another thing that is crazy.
I think a lot of us have.
Yeah. I can remember my dad like sneaking me like Cool Ranch Doritos when I was it would have been before my parents got a divorce. So probably first grade. My mom didn't want me eat, because like I said, I had a weight problem. I can remember in 5th grade, I was 115 pounds, which is kind of big for it's pretty big for a 5th grader. I've always had issues, and I would my dad would sneak me food, and that's the one thing I can say now. And I don't know what month this changed, when it changed, but I no longer when something bad happens, like today was like real stressful. My son had a therapy appointment. It's not one of his regular ones. It's only once a month, and it's never the same time, and I forgot it. And it literally, I felt terrible. I felt like a failure. I'm like, all this stuff. I called up one of my friends who happens to have a son as well that had a stroke. And she's like, you're a human being. Like, this happens, and I just felt awful. And I got on the elliptical at home. Last week when I was doing my elliptical workout, my heart rate was in the 120s the entire time. And I was getting so frustrated because I'm like, please, just get up a little higher,
I feel
Today
ya.
it was 150s, 160s. I sweat my ass off. I was so like, I literally could just feel, and it's so crazy. And then I start crying, and then I do a story, and a girl commented on my post. She's like, I was crying with you. And I'm like, oh my God, I feel like sometimes people are probably like, oh my God, that girl is so nutty. But like I do on my stories, I want to be real with people. I want them to see,
Yeah.
It's
not nutty. It's just you being real. I don't ever let anybody, please, don't let anybody ever stop you from being real. Cause that's what I dig about you. You're authentic as hell.
You.
I appreciate that.
There's been a couple, like it's been kind of rough. There was been a couple of people that I was friends with on Instagram, cause I make friends with so many people, and then they completely stop talking to me, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's because of progress or what. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, because believe me, I am no better than anybody else, but it really hurt. And so now even more so, I just want people to see like, no, yes, I've lost a hell of a lot of weight, but it has not been easy. Like I work out since since July. I've been working out 6 days a week. 6 days a week. Wow. I have to. It literally, and it's so therapeutic now. The last couple of months, it has been really therapeutic. But I just want people to see that, okay, just because I'm doing this doesn't mean that you have to do it. It doesn't mean, everybody's going to do something that works best for them. But I just, it's something that I need. Like, I need this. I need to, I've let obesity rule my life for so long. I'm 34 years old. And at least since I was 18, I have been obese, and I'm tired of it. I am sick of it.
I feel you.
There's things like at the zoo, I wanted to take, well, now I know that the max weight was fine. But for the zoo, you have to be a certain weight to ride the camels. And then there's this thing at one of these malls, and they have these like little stuffed animal things that you ride around on. The weight limit's 225. Like, I wanted to take my son on it, and I couldn't. I know you love roller coasters, which hopefully you can get to Cedar Point one of these days, and me and my husband can meet up with you guys, which would be freaking awesome.
It's going to happen next year.
Yes. Well, the last time I went to Cedar Point, and you would have thought this would have been an eye opener, and it wasn't. It was before I had my son. I want to say it's probably been 3-4 years ago. We got on a ride, and I had to get off because I didn't fit.
I've been there.
And it was awful. It was horrible. My husband felt bad. He wanted to get off too. I'm like, no, we waited this whole time. I got off. I was bald, and I would have thought that like, even then, something would have clicked. And honestly, it was my son. It's just.
It all goes back to him.
It all goes back to him. I mean, I have to do it for him. I love my husband to death. It's funny that I think about, before I had my son, I'm like, oh, how am I going to love anyone more than I love my husband? And then I have my son, and it's like, my husband who?
Yeah, no, who is this guy?
Right. I mean, this bond, like, and the day that he was born and was having seizures, everybody at the hospital thought it was normal, and it wasn't. I just have this incredible bond with him, and I just don't want to be that mom that can't do stuff with him. So I'm glad that I'm doing it now, so it's not when he's older. What if he wanted to, ride a roller coaster. I don't know if he will be able to because of his epilepsy, but he might, you know, and then I can't take him on it because of, you know, I'm over the weight limit. Like,
I think
I don't want it to hold me back. It's held me back for so long. And I you know, I'm just sick of it.
I gotta say, I think, and I'm not here to speak for anybody, but I like to say more of like predictions. I think your son will go back in 5 to 10 years and he's going to look back at mama's Instagram, because mama would have been whooping all that ass for the last 5 or 10 years, just crushing it, looking amazing, feeling amazing, being the best mom, being the best wife. And I think he'll look back at that and say, look what she did. Look what I've done. Look what I'm going to continue to do. And that both of you are going to get through every bit of adversity that you've ever been through. I really believe this. You guys are just going to, you will motivate each other, because once he gets to the point where he knows what's kind of going on, right? And he's looking at what you've done and how far he's come. I mean, you guys are going to be incredible motivators for each other. And together, much like this community that we're part of, we're just all going to, you know, it'll be lifting each other up. And that's what I think is going to happen. And so I think that the both of you are going to excel and reach the highest of highs.
Yeah. It kind of scares me though, honestly. Like, my weight is starting to slow down. I haven't even lost 3 pounds this month, and I'm okay with that, because I'm still I'm at that point where I'm just like, I know what I'm doing, even though I might not be losing the weight, even though I'm eating, really well, and I'm still working out. I'm still bettering myself, and I'm making myself healthier. And I completely just lost it.
Happens to me too.
It's mom brain. I blame it on him. Oh, so it honestly terrifies me to hit quote unquote goal.
Yeah.
Because I've never maintained a weight. I mean, I guess like being in 250s, 260s, 270s, all the, for years kind of maintained, but it's not, that's why I love to call, it is a journey, because this is something I'm going to have to do the rest of my life. I'm not going to be able to get to goal and then be like, oh, I'm going to go back and eat what I used to eat, because it's not going to happen. It's all going to come back on, It's really kind of scary knowing, okay, like I'm going to get down to my goal weight and then what do I do? Like I maintain, but it's kind of nerve wracking, because I know how to gain weight and I know how to lose weight, but maintaining it for, you'll
do it. I know it seems
terrifying.
Overwhelming. Look, it seems overwhelming, but look how far you've come. I mean, come on.
I know.
You got this. It's already happening. You're already doing it.
I've had so many mini goals, and let me tell you, when I finally weighed less than my husband, I'm like, oh yeah, it was great. Yeah. And then when I weighed, so my license says now that I'm 225. So now it's amazing to know that I'm 30 pounds under my license, even though, I was like 70 pounds over my license before. That's one thing. Like in this journey, like you'll get really overwhelmed. Like I knew that I wanted to be at like overweight BMI or whatever. Yeah. So I knew it was like 120, 130 pounds, and it really overwhelmed me. So I started doing mini goals. I did like 30-pound mini goals. And then I had little ones around there, like the 225 for, my husband's 225. So 220 for weighing less than my husband. Oh, and then 225 for weighing less than my, what my license says. And then, getting out of obese class 3 and then getting out of obese class 2. And now I'm in obese class 1. You know what I mean? You have to set up mini goals, because if you look at the whole picture and you're like, oh my God, I have over 100 pounds to lose, you're going to get overwhelmed. And I think that's what happened in February. And that's what really helped me with Lexi, Fat Girl Fed Up, because I'm like, okay, I have 120, 130 pounds. Are you kidding me? She lost 312 pounds. She probably would have looked at my 120 pounds and been like, God, I wish that's all. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So like, just looking at it that, you know, that's why I love like just looking, you know, this community, I don't know, this community is amazing. And seeing people losing hundreds and hundreds, you know, of pounds. And, you know, sometimes I feel like a little inferior because there's people that, you know, weighed way more than me and lost weight, you know, and like to even do this podcast with you, I'm like, maybe I should wait until I've lost 100 pounds. You know what I mean?
No.
It's only, but I mean, that's just how I feel. Like, it's only this. There's people that are, and that's another thing. Don't compare yourself to other people.
Oh,
like,
God, yes.
Don't, because you will always lose by comparison. You always will.
And get away from that. I only lost this. I only lost that. That's nonsense. Come on now.
I know.
Crystal, you're amazing. You've done amazing things. You don't need to say you've almost lost 100 freaking pounds.
It's crazy. I mean, it's just I don't know. That's another thing. Like, figure out what your why is and don't give up. That's why, like, so I eat 1,800 calories a day.
Yes.
And actually that's what my FitnessPal, I bumped it up. I was doing 1,700. And I actually bumped it up to 1,800. And that's what I'm supposed to, for my weight, to lose like 2 pounds a week, even though I'm not losing that. But that's what, I eat around 100 grams of carbs a day, which I think it's more. And then I eat like 80 to 100 grams of fat. I think it's more like of the calorie, like, you know, it's just being in a calorie deficit is basically what it is. But carbs are my downfall. So that's why I try to keep it at at that, because I'm so afraid. I'm like literally terrified of sinking back to what I was. And, you know, I've been on this journey for so long that it probably won't get there. But me and my husband went, and my son, we went to Amish country. It's been probably, about a month ago. And I only worked out 4 days that week, which isn't a big deal. You know, okay, whatever. There's people that work out. But because one of the days I was sick. Well, then the next week, one of the days, you know, I woke up and it's a day to work out at home. And I'm like, I don't want to work out at home. I only worked out 4 days last week. So I can just, you know, it's fine if I just, you know, work out 5 days this week. But then I'm like, no, you have goals to smash. You have goals to kill. Yeah. So it's just, you know, for myself, I'm a lot more strict than some people. Like I said, I don't have like weekly cheat meals, you know, like for Thanksgiving, like I said, you know, I'm going to eat what I want. I'm not going to stuff myself like a pig like I have in the past. I don't want to make myself feel sick. I'm going to eat what I want and I'm going to enjoy myself.
Yeah. No,
but just how I am, I just, you know, I get into this mentality where it's like, okay, if I didn't do it, then okay, now I don't have to do it again. And that's why I just try to, you know, last week at work, I ate a donut. Yeah, I ate a donut. I stayed within my carbs, you know, and being that, I mean, I don't know if I would call that like strict, but it's what has helped me. 'Cause in the past, you know, I haven't been like that. And I've, you know, I'm like, oh, well, one, you know, this might lead to, you know, more. So, and that kind of scares me too about getting, you know, to maintaining. 'Cause I don't know.
It can be a freaky road out there, you know. You never know.
Why can't we just have like super fast metabolisms? You know, you see some people and they just eat whatever they want, and you're like, God, I'll never be like that.
I know.
When I get to goal, I probably will not be working out 6 days a week. I'll probably only work out, you know, 4 days a week at the gym, like I'm doing, and then, you know, like I'll switch things. I'll have to eat more, you know, so I don't keep losing. And honestly, though, that's the thing that terrifies me. Not all this. It's getting to where I want to be and then just staying that way within 10 pounds.
No, I hear you. And speaking of which, you know, one of the things I like to talk about is as we kind of wind down the chat, it's like, you know, I want you to do this for me. I want you to close your eyes, clear your mind for a moment and think What's 5 years look like ahead for you? What does 10 years look like? What are some of the big picture goals? Obviously you want to reach your goal weight, but from there, like, what does the next 5 or 10 years look like when you can picture this in your mind?
You know, like today I was thinking, I was listening to, today I was listening to your podcast with that guy actually that lives in Cincinnati, Shred. Yeah.
Amazing guy.
He seems really nice.
The best food pictures on Instagram. And I've been trying to get Gordon Ramsay. I've been tagging him in every photo that he posts and nothing yet.
Gordon Ramsay.
I know. I feel like if I ever meet him, he's gonna be like, "So you're the asshole that's been tagging me in every photo of this guy I don't know." And okay, it's a terrible accent, but anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I would really like to do a 5K. I've never ran, and I know you've said on your podcast that you've done a couple 5Ks. I really have been lately wanting to run outside.
Yes.
I can't remember the last time I ran outside was probably 10 years ago. And I'm like, oh, I've got all this anger. I'm just going to go run. I just want to run. And I literally ran probably 100 feet. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done. I really would like to do maybe some 5Ks, start running.
Well,
I really want to do stuff for pediatric stroke. I really want to, because a lot of people, when they hear that my son had a stroke, they're like, oh my God, babies have strokes. And I'm like, yeah, he either had it during birth or before, like when I was still pregnant with him.
Right.
I want to do stuff with that. I mean, I don't know. Like I really, even when it comes to my son, like I live for today. You know what I mean? Like, I don't expect anything from my son. Like, I don't see him in 10 years. I don't know where he'll be, how well he'll be doing. I just, love him during the day, for that day. And I don't know. I mean, I really want to learn to run. I want to teach myself to run. I think that running will really help me, with like stress and everything. And I don't know. I guess I've never really thought like, where do I want to, I don't know. I just want to be happy. That's a major thing. Like when it goes like a scale from 1 to 10, 10 loving yourself the most and being at a 1, I was at a 1. I mean, forever. Like I literally, hated myself. And now, honestly, I would say I'm up to like a 6, maybe even a 7, like, learning to love myself, love my body for what it can do. Loving myself and just maybe being there for people that, that need this. Like that's mainly, my Instagram page started off with, accountability, but now, it's just turned into so much more. I just want people to see, money's tight for us, medical bills, all kinds of stuff. I've tried so many diets in the past. In January, I'm like, oh God, what am I going to do? Because I've done Advocare cleanses before, I've lost some weight, but then I put it back on. Yeah. I'm like, nursing my son. I can't be doing a cleanse. What am I going to do? I'm not going to be able to lose weight without that. I want to be to some people, what Lexi and Maynard do. Like, I just want people to be like, oh God, she can do it. Like, I don't have to spend money. I don't have to do anything crazy or drastic. Yeah. I just want to help people, so I don't know what that's going to entail. Like, I really think it's cool, like the whole health coaching thing. But a part of me is like, God, I don't want people to have to, people have to make a living, but I don't want people to feel like they have to spend the money. But then I think, okay, there are some people that do need that. You know what I mean? Yeah. That maybe don't have that why like I do. And that maybe, I can help them. So I think
there's a better way to do it. I think what a lot of people get wrong is They go for the quick sale. They want to get you in. They want to get your money.
Yeah.
I operate and maybe I'll go to the grave broke for this, but I don't care because for me, what I do is irreplaceable. I love what I do on here on Instagram and the podcast. I think the best information for me is given away for free. You know, I go on, I put these posts on Instagram, these long posts. I put a lot of thought into them and I put them out there and they help people. But then I tell people, okay, so this is the message, right? If you like how I approach it, if you like the mindset that I have and you want to take it a step further, I offer being able to get on a call with me. I offer more access. You know, if somebody wants to DM me and ask a couple of questions, I have no problem with that. But if they want, you know, if they say, man, you know, it'd just be really easy to get on a call with you for a fee, I would get on a call with somebody and give them more of that access. But most of the information is best given away for free online. Yes. And then if they like what you have to say and they want more, believe me, that's when you can make that living and because you are valuable for that time. But you gotta give out the stuff. You gotta let them try before they buy. In other words.
Oh, definitely. And that's why I'm like, you know, I don't want to have to like charge for things that I've done for free. Yeah. I can remember a couple years ago, well, it's even been like maybe 4 years. I went to a really nice shoe store for running shoes, and I bought a pair of running shoes, and this girl gave me her card. She's like a life coach. You know, there was a girl that I watched on YouTube, and that, you know, is a life coach too. And I'm like, oh, you know, I maybe I need this, you know, like, but you know, I don't have the money to like pay somebody for this.
Yeah.
And that's like just the big thing. Like, you know, there's a lot of people out there that don't have the money for things. And I just want them to see that you can do this. You don't have to pay for anything. You know, I get people that like try to solicit, you know, oh, you know, you want to, you know, try my shakes and all this stuff. And I'm like, I've lost almost 100 pounds on my own. What do you think your shake is going to do for me?
Yeah.
Because I mean, me personally, like I will drink like a protein shake sometimes if I haven't got my daily protein in, but this girl likes to eat.
Yeah.
I would prefer to eat food instead of have a meal replacement shake. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, and I just want people to see, like, because there's so many people out there that, you know, are struggling. And that's why I love Instagram. You know, it's free. People can follow me and see, you know, all the things that I'm doing, and it's free.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's just all I want. You know, it's funny when people are like, how are you losing weight? And like, they want me to tell them like this secret pill. And
I'm like, there's a big secret.
Yeah. I'm like, well, I'm in a calorie deficit. I log everything I eat into MyFitnessPal and I work out 6 days a week. And then they just look at me like, oh. And I'm like, I mean, you just have to build, you know, habits. So, I mean, 5-10 years, I don't know. Honestly, I want to be happy. I want to love myself. Like, I want to love myself. I want to be mentally healthy. I want to be, you know, so I'm working on my physical health. You know, I've dramatically dropped, you know, so much. I'm working on my physical health, and that's what I'm going to do 5-10 years from now. And that's what I'm going to do when I hit maintenance, is work on my mental self. And I've started it now, cause it is mental, you know, and that's what I'm going to do. I want to love myself.
I love it. I think you're going to do it. I have full confidence in you, and we'll end with this. You said you want to do some running, right?
Yes.
You're in Ohio, right?
Yes.
How far are you from Cincinnati?
You know what? And I'm not that far. And I was thinking about that when he was saying today. Yeah. 2.5 hours, I think. 2 hours.
You want to go run with us?
I will. Yeah. In May.
Yeah.
I would love it.
You want to do it?
Would love it. Yes.
Let's do it.
Oh my gosh. And that's like my serious, like, okay, 5-10 years from now, that's what I want to do. I want to meet, oh my God, you know, that podcast that I listened to that you did with Lexi and Danny, like I literally cried throughout most of it, you know, listening to your story, listening to theirs, you know, listening to your podcast the other day about, you know, the losses that you had and how awful that, you know, I'm proud of you for like still going through, even, you know, going to the gym. And that's a big thing for me. Like, God forbid something happens with my son, his epilepsy comes back, you know, he's on seizure meds and his epilepsy is controlled, but God forbid something happens and it comes back. I do not want to go back to who I was. I will fight through it. I will work, you know, if that means me having to go to the gym and just like, or go outside and run and, you know, and cry and run till I can't run anymore. Like that's
whatever it takes.
Yes, whatever it takes, because I am done living, you know, the way that I lived. So yes, I would love in May, I would love to run with you guys. I don't know if I'll be able to run this far. But
I hear you. I'm still. I got to get my groove back. I got on the treadmill yesterday and it wasn't pretty, so I got some work to do.
That's bad. I mean, I have never ran. I don't think I've ever even ran a mile. To be honest with you, in school, I always walked it. I've never been a runner.
Yeah,
but I really would like to try to.
I wanna put this out there for everybody that's listening right now. And I don't have any affiliation with this, whatever this race is in May. I just know that a buddy of mine on a podcast said, "Hey man, I'm a part of this thing." But I'm challenging you, and I'm challenging anybody else out there listening that wants to join me, join us, and just come out and do the damn thing. Like, why the hell not?
Ryan, what is it? Tomko?
Yes.
He lives here in Ohio, so maybe we can talk to him.
He's also in Ohio. That's right. Yes. Okay, great.
There's actually quite a few like friends that I have that I've met through Instagram that are in Ohio.
Do you know Daryl?
I don't know Daryl.
You don't know? Okay.
I don't think so. I'll have to look him up. I don't know him.
Your Level Fitness.
Your Level Fitness. Okay.
Can you?
Yeah, I would love to do that.
Can you open up your app right? I want you to stop what you're doing. As a matter of fact, I want everybody listening right now. Don't stop the podcast. Stop what you're doing right now. Open up Instagram.
Oh, I have looked it. Okay.
Okay. I want everybody to go right now. If you're not following this man, please follow this man, because if you think what I have to say is great, he is fantastic. And
yeah, I actually listened to your guys' podcast.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. There you go. So
I just couldn't put a picture with a face.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I want everybody to go right now and follow this man. If you like what I do here, you're going to love what he does, because he's actually educated on like nutrition and all this other. I'm more mindset. I'm very open about that. Like, I'm not here to be anybody's like fitness trainer or nutritionist. I'm really good with mindset. And that's what, you know, if somebody wants to hire me to get on a call about mindset, we can do mindset. But with the other stuff, nutrition, fitness, if you're looking for, and I know a lot of people on Instagram, they're not really looking for a coach, but he's another guy. He puts out, most of the information is free, right? And if you like what he has to say, then you can talk more with him. But at Your Level Fitness, he's not asking me to say this. I'm saying it because he's a friend and because I believe in his message. So go out and follow him. And I believe we're probably going to do another podcast at some point soon. But he is just a phenomenal human being, and you all need to stop what you're doing. Your Level Fitness, put it in your Instagram machine right now if you're not already, and blow this guy's account wide open. Let's do it, folks. There you go.
Yeah, I'm following him now. So
okay,
that's
good.
Cool. Yeah, I would love to. Yes.
All right, so you should join us.
I'm going to.
It's like
I'm
May.
Have to start running.
It's like May 4th or May 5th. One of those.
May the 4th be with you.
See, there you go. There you go. So, and here's the thing too. Like, I'm going to start kind of like light training between now and January, and then January I'm going to really kick it into high gear. But, I'm serious. Like, I thought about this, and I haven't even called the guy to tell him I'm like coming, but I'm coming. It's happening.
Awesome.
So
that's awesome. Yeah, I was just listening to that podcast today, and I'm like, Cincinnati, that's not very far from me. Maybe I could do that with them. So yeah, that would be awesome.
It's like 8 hours away from me, but what the hell? You only live once.
Right.
All you got to do is just say yes. That's what Yes Theory teaches me. I plug them every podcast now because they're just amazing people. They certainly don't need the help because they have like 2 million subs on YouTube, but they are amazing people. And they talk about seeking discomfort and getting out of your comfort zone, trying new things. Mm-hmm. And so if flying or driving to Cincinnati is one of those things to go run, I'm going to do it. Why not?
Awesome.
So, you know what? This has been an amazing podcast. I think we've said it all here. I think that people will come away from this saying, man, that Crystal has done some amazing, amazing things. The story about your son, your family, everything you've been through, and look at where you're at now. The smoke clears and there you are, nearly 100 pounds lighter, whooping that ass. I love it. I love it. You've done amazing.
Thank you.
You're speechless.
I wish I could say it's all me, but they say fitness, like losing weight and everything. They're like, it has to be you. And I'm like, it is partially me, but it's more my son, he's everything and I have to be the best for him. And that's why I don't give up. That's why I fight through these workouts that I don't want to do.
Yeah.
I've only been going to the gym a month and a half, maybe even 2 months now, but I love going to the gym, but it's working out at home. I did it and I lost a majority of my weight, probably 85 pounds of my weight, from working out at home. But, you just got to do it on the days, like they say, the days that you don't want to work out are the days you really need it.
That's right.
Today was that day. And just let working out be your therapy. And it doesn't have to be like crazy workouts. Just go outside and walk. That's all you got to do is just move. That's
right. I love it. I love it. Crystal, thank you so much. This has been awesome. I'm glad that we could jump on the call, do the podcast, and I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this one. So thank you so much. And of course, they need to go follow you right now at Reduced Fat Mama. Go hit it up. Go get it. Go get you some.
That's me. I hope, I hope that even a mom, that has kids that have, some special needs or something, that they know that they're not alone. I'm here. I feel the same way about like quote unquote followers. Like I feel like they're friends, they lift me up on days when I am, I feel so down. So I am grateful for this weight loss community. Absolutely. And thank you so much for having me on here. I really appreciate it.
I'm happy to have you.
I'm proud of you for your weight loss and everything, when life gets in the way and just still plugging through.
Doing the best I can, one day at a time. That's what I tell everybody. One day at a time.
Yep, that's all you can do is look at that day because, just the day that you're in. Because if not, it's not going to be good.
I hear you. Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Had a blast.
Yes. Thank you. You too.